told, is a common name, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. So the first we learnt about Jnana Yoga, next we learnt about Karma Yoga. Now he adds the word Sannyasa, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. But Sannyasa in Bhagavad Gita is not the outer renunciation. It is what we discussed so far. It is a renunciation of the results of action. It is a renunciation of doership. All this is we have to know. Now, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga is also given another name called as Brahmarpana Yoga, because there is a very famous shloka that comes in this, which is called as Brahmarpanam Brahmavihi Brahmarpanam Brahmarpanam. And this shloka is generally said before food in all our ashrams and all, in all the traditional ashrams. That mantra I say. Brahmarpanam, the word means offering everything to the Lord, offering everything to the divine. A sense of, a sense of complete letting go of that idea of wanting results, wanting that, holding on to the doership. So this concept he brings like that in a more subtler way, Brahmarpanam. So we sometimes also say this word, samarpanam. All are similar, complete surrender of self. Okay. Now I'll just I'll just briefly mention. So this chapter is a little different. It will cover few. Say every chapter is going to cover different concepts. As we know, although we say there are 4 yogas, in which is generally discussed in Bhagavad Gita. There are 4 primary yogas. What are the 4 primary yogas Bhagavad Gita covers? Anybody?
Yoga,
Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga,
Jnana Yoga,
Dhyana Yoga. So our Raja Yoga or Dhyana Yoga. So these are the 4 yogas. However, we also say from the Bhagavad Gita point, from the chapters, there are 18 yogas, meaning each chapter has a certain theme of yoga. So yoga, as we know, it is a means of uniting us with the divine, means of uniting us with that supreme self, that self, that awareness, that consciousness which we talk about. Yoga is a means of uniting with us. So there are that 18. So in a more general way, this chapter covers this concept of the importance of knowledge as a means of surrender. The importance of knowledge from the concept of how to do the right action, how to surrender to Lord, and how to find complete liberation. So that is why it is called as Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. We can, some English translation can also mean the yoga of knowledge and renunciation of action. Or we can say the yoga of knowledge in action, in renunciation of action. So that is different ways of putting that. And so in this, the initial teachings, he talks about the parampara. Parampara means how the wisdom is transmitted through an unbroken lineage from that, from time eternal. It has always been there. It is always getting translated. It is transmitted. So here we will also learn of concepts such as avatara. The Lord talks of himself as an incarnation. And then there is also the teachings of the action, the secret of action, how action is a binding factor, and how wisdom in action can be a liberating factor. And we will go further into the concept of yajna, how there are different ways of yajna, and of all this yajna, the jnana yajna, offering that our ignorance in the fire of wisdom. Offering our all our kleshas, our vasanas, our samskaras in the fire of wisdom. So there are some beautiful shlokas which says that, of all purifying factors, knowledge is the highest purifying. Nehi jnanena sadrisham pavitramya vidyate. There is nothing more purifying Nothing can purify us more than knowledge. Sometimes, we talk of this word chitta shuddhi. We say this thing, right? All other forms of practices are subsidiary to knowledge, we say. Why? Because when we do bhakti, when we do meditation, when we do karma yoga, these are helping us to gain the purification. But here the Lord is saying even the highest purification is knowledge. So the knowledge is the means of highest purification. Dhyana yoga, bhakti yoga, and karma yoga are also helping us get this purification. Because without purification, we will not have the knowledge of self, we will not have the knowledge of, or that knowledge will not abide. The knowledge of the Supreme will not abide with us. And so the supremacy of knowledge is mentioned in the later phase. How knowledge burns away all karma. So, see, we talk about this karma philosophy, right? How over lifetimes we have karma and we are stuck in this karma. But if we have to purify us, how do we get? Then do we have to one by one do good karma and wait for so many lifetimes of good karma before we can become free? Or does knowledge immediately, instantaneously free us? So that is what he's going to discuss. How knowledge, the true knowledge, that knowledge meaning here, we talked about it. It is not just knowledge in terms of the information I get. It is a knowledge that I've assimilated. That knowledge will lead me to final liberation. And then he talks about how even the aspect of shraddha, faith. Faith not in the sense of blind faith here, faith in the sense of how having that faith will help us get that knowledge. Shraddhavan labate jnanam. How knowledge, how that faith, how some sense. See, when we come to this class also, you have to have some faith. Okay, this teaching Gita is a good text to study. The teacher also has some idea. So some little bit we should have. That is when we get that knowledge, right? And you go to school, colleges also, you have some faith. So that will be discussed, all of that. Okay. All right. So now let us first chant the 2 to 3 shlokas and then we can discuss this further. Okay, so here it is not mentioned actually in this, but we generally, when we start by saying in Sanskrit, Atha Chatur. Actually, here, let me see if I have that. May I make next time? Maybe now this time you can just listen to me. If you know, you can chant after me. Atha Chaturtho Dhyayah.
अथ चतुर्थोऽध्यायः
चतुर्थोऽध्यायः
ज्ञानकर्मसन्न्यासयोगः
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 श्रीभगवानुवाच
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 इमौ विवस्वते योगम्
इमं
इमं
विवस्वते
विवस्वते
योगम्
योगम्
प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम्
प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम्
भवानहमव्ययम्
विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह
विवस्वान्मनवे
विवस्वान्मनवे
प्राह
प्राह
मनुरीक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत्
मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे
मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे
ब्रवीत्
ब्रवीत्
एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम्
एवं
एवं
परम्परा
परम्परा
प्राप्तम्
प्राप्तम्
इमं राजर्षयो विदुः
इमं
राजर्षयो
राजर्षयो
विदुः
सकाले नेह महता
सकाले
सकालेनेह महता
योगो नष्टः परन्तप
योगो
योगो
नष्टः
नष्टः
परन्तप
परन्तप
One more shloka. स एवायं मया तेद्य
स
स
एवायं
एवायं मया तेय
योक्तः प्रोक्तः Puratanaha.
Yoga
Yoga
Prukta
Prukta
Puratanaha.
Puratanaha.
Bhakto si me sakha cheti.
Bhaktosi me
Bhaktosi me
cheti.
Sakha Cheti.
Rahasyam hetaduttamam.
Rahasyam
Rahasyam
hetaduttamam.
Hetaduttamam.
Okay, now this chapter is a little different than the ones. The starting is different. That little bit of there is what we call as a Gita Stuti is done first. So now this teachings that we are going to get in Gita, Bhagavad Gita, and especially one of the unique things, some of the unique things in Gita is this teachings of Karma Yoga and Jnana Sannyasa Yoga. All these are new concepts, So sometimes we might think like, oh, maybe this is a new teaching. This is not a traditional teaching. This is a new teaching. Of course, from our traditional point, we already think Gita is a traditional text. But many times, those who have a very strong Vedic thing, they think that Gita is not exactly like how it is in Vedas. A lot of it is different. So here the Lord is saying that actually this is more or less the same teachings of the essence of Vedas that I'm giving. So how is it given? He outlines what is called as a lineage, which we call as parampara. Here he uses the word parampara. So when we talk about lineage, there are two things, sometimes these words can be a bit confusing. So let me maybe first clarify that. There is one called as Vamsha. Vamsha is a ancestral lineage, physical ancestral lineage. Sometimes, there are family trees. This person was born to that. So that is called Vamsha. And when it's a long lineage, in our Mahabharata, we call it as Bharata Vamsha. So in fact, the word India, the word India has come from the traditional name for India is Bharata. So it comes from Bharata Vamsha. So there was a king called Bharata. So based on him, it is given. But they also sometimes say Surya Vamsha, Chandra Vamsha, and all that are there. So these are like the what you call the lineages, the ancestral lineage of thing. But here he is not talking about that. He's not talking that of, after me, somebody was born, somebody was born. This is the spiritual lineage, we can say. Parampara, how the knowledge comes from the Lord himself and it has got transmitted over time. So the transmission of that supreme wisdom, that supreme reality, it has come from the Lord. And he outlines whom I gave it to earlier and how it was transmitted. So this yoga or this reality here, imam vivasvate yogam. So Vivaswan is the sun god, the Lord's son, who is the manifestation of the Lord's. I mean, that Lord, that God who manifested as the sun. That we call as Vivaswan or the sun god. See, in the Vedic things, all this aspect of nature is worshipped. There is a sun which is worshipped as a god. Um, the moon is worshipped, and all the five elements are worshipped. Each of them have God. So all these things, they are different sense of what you call divinizing the nature. Different aspects of nature are looked upon as divine entities. And so he relates that parampara. So first was Vivaswan. From Vivaswan, I gave it to Manu, he says. Manu is the sometimes mentioned in many texts as the first person, the first man, and all that. And Manu passed it on to Ikshwaku. Ikshwaku was he was considered the one of the main persons in the lineage of the Solar dynasty. So Ikshwaku. So these we don't have to necessarily remember these names, but we have to understand that he is trying to mention that there is an unbroken lineage. evam parampara praptam. So we use this word parampara. Parampara is that spiritual lineage. Sometimes in some traditions, they talk about sampradaya. So these are two different words. Sometimes they are used synonymously, but generally sampradaya refers to a particular sect or a particular tradition of teachings. There is a, like, in our things we say Dvaita Sampradaya, Dvaita Sampradaya. So these are particular philosophical sects or philosophical things. But the tradition parampara is the same. There is only one parampara in that sense, that the Lord is giving the teaching in an unbroken lineage. So we may say that, that there are different traditions, different sects and all that. But that the teaching, the transmission is on that one lineage it has come. So sometimes, appreciation of this lineage is an important aspect in the thing. Because then we understand there are two important reasons uh, why we have to give importance to this, that fact that there is a lineage. So the lineage is not just nowadays, of course, there are many lineages. There are many gurus who will have their own lineages. But the real, when we talk about lineages, there is that one supreme reality from whom itself all these teachings has come. It is not in a religious sense we are using the word lineage. Sometimes it is used in a religious sense that this person is my disciple, this person, so, and this is that sect we have formed. Here, that one reality itself is that true transmission of wisdom. And one good thing about it is that here the Lord says that everything is that same Vedic kind of knowledge I have transmitted again and again in different ways. So the importance of lineage is that there isn't that one personality through whom we are getting this. There is no one individual who is giving us. So this is where, even a true teacher, acharyas we say in our tradition, these acharyas don't consider themselves as the guru in that supreme sense, that they are the ones who will have all the knowledge. They realize that they are just they're the ones who are transmitting this knowledge. Now there is two elements. There is one who is receiving this knowledge, and another one, the one who has received that, the person who gives that knowledge to that one who is capable of receiving it. And the other thing is that person, among those who are capable of receiving it, there are those who are capable of further transmitting it. So these are the two important things in a lineage. So we say sometimes, there can be 1,000 students, but there'll be only few who will be able to transmit that knowledge, that wisdom again. So this is the fundamental difference in the lineage, in upholding the lineage. There are acharyas who are qualified and capable of transmitting that, and then there are those who can receive, they can benefit from that. There is nothing wrong. So a lineage is generally this, what we call, and that is what he's saying. The ancient knowledge was handed down in an unbroken lineage, and the great sages knew it well. But over time, O Parantapa, this yoga has been lost in the world. So what he's saying is that people who are qualified to transmit that knowledge in its pure essence, in its pure thing, has been lost. So many people say this also sometimes, but here the Lord is talking about the supreme knowledge of reality. Sometimes we say that it is just karma yoga or it is some yogic technique and all that. So here the Lord is not talking about that. The Lord is saying that that proper wisdom, that full wisdom, the full reality was transmitted to people all along, and in an unbroken lineage. So now there is one more thing he says. हम ये स एवायम मया तेद्य yoga prokta puratana. This ancient and supreme yoga, puratana, I have transmitted this, I've given this thing to for many people, but yet at the same time this which has been this which I'm giving to you today, that same ancient supreme knowledge that was given in that ancient times, which was lost sometime here and there. I'm now reviving this to you. So as we know, in the Mahabharata war, Arjuna received a lot of knowledge. He went so many places. And he also had nearly like 12 years where they were in the forest and all that. But that time it was not given to him. It is now given in the battlefield to Arjuna. So today I'm giving it to you here. Why? For two reasons. He says, Bhaktosi me sakha chaiti. You are my devotee and my friend. Meaning that in your hour of need, in your hour of now you have expressed that desire, that see, many times unless there is some kind of challenges we have gone in life, and unless there has been some difficulties that we have faced in life, we don't have the interest for that. And the second thing is also that sometimes what happens is that we are not capable to even listen to this. We are not capable to, we don't have that we call it sadhana chatustaya sometimes, that qualification to listen. So many times, this knowledge is not like it is hidden somewhere, but we ourselves don't have that qualification. We are not ready, and we don't have that interest, we don't have that desire. And then when life challenges us, we don't find solutions in the normal worldly life, then we are willing to question, we are willing to seek this knowledge, this wisdom. So that is what he's saying. You are a devotee, you have become a devotee to me, meaning until now they were friends, they were relatives, but he never approached Krishna, right? So now we have shown that interest. Now we are shown that willingness, that receptivity. So now what happens? Why that parampara? When we say, one example given for parampara is that parampara knowledge can flow only from the top to down. Sometimes, modern world, especially, in many modern discussions, we say, like, okay, we will discuss this out, we will learn together and all that, right? So that is not the traditional way knowledge is given. Normal worldly things we can learn like that. You can both have a good discussion. One person will learn from another person and so those are okay. But these knowledges, right? These scripture-based knowledges. So the idea, the simile given for that is from the mountain, the water is flowing. But the water can only flow from the top to down. The water is not meant to flow like from down to top, or even it cannot flow too much at the same level for too long. So the flow of water is how the flow of knowledge can happen from a scriptural sense. That's that gurus who have realized that truth through the acharyas and through the traditions, they are the parampara, the ones through which it's going. So in that sense, what it is suggesting is you have that humility today. You have that humility to listen. You have that interest to understand. And more importantly, that you have in this hour of need for you, in your hour of need, out of your devotion, I give it to you. So this is why, sometimes acharyas and all in our tradition also, there are some general knowledge they will give you, but the real knowledge of the teachings and all that, right? They are willing to give to devotees who have that interest, that sincerity, that devotion. So that is how the traditional thing is. And he says, Saka rahasyam hetaduttamam. This is a rahasya. And there is also one more way. I'll say this, and then any of you can ask any question. When we say rahasya, secret, there are again, from the Vedantic concept, what is the secret is that our own pure self, our own consciousness is the essence of our being. Yet we are identified with the body, mind, and everything, and we neglect it. So this is a supreme secret, which is not a secret in the sense it is hidden. It is a secret in the sense it is ignored. We don't notice it. We don't look to that self, that pure essence of our being. We don't realize it. And from a devotee perspective also, we can say the Lord pervades everything. In everything, the Lord is pervading. In all, there is the essence of everything. And yet, we are focused on the objective aspect of that Lord, the objective manifestation of the Lord. And so we are missing that reality, that deeper essence of it. So this, he says, now I'm giving it to you, or I'm willing to give it to you. So of course, these shlokas, as we know, the Bhagavad Gita is actually written by Vedavyasa, although the Lord gave it to Arjuna. Uh, it is not necessary that he gave it to him in this verse by verse form. So that is why this knowledge can be given in a battlefield. Otherwise, to teach so long in the battlefield, it's probably not practical, right? So the Lord has it, he kind of transmits that knowledge, and Vyasa has made it possible for us to learn it in verse to verse form. So this is why, we say this is called as a Smriti Grantha. Smriti means that it has come through the mind, intellect of a rishi, of an individual. And the other one is called as a Shruti Upanishad. Okay, what is the difference between Shruti and Smriti? Smriti I already said. Shruti, what is the difference? The Upanishads are Shrutis.
They're chanted, they're voiced out.
Which one?
You listened.
Upanishads.
Upanishads. But what is the difference between that and the Smriti here in Bhagavad Gita? Like, if you say it is chanted, then what about Gita? How is it given?
The Shruti comes from the Lord, not from the human mind.
Yes. That is the difference. The Shruti is not through the intermediary of any intellect, even if it is a sage. It is not through that intellect. Although we say it is given by this this individual, that Rishi. Even the Upanishads, we do say that. But it is not, kind of created by them, like how Vedavyasa has created this in a verse form. See, it is in a form where we can even chant now, right? Gita, we are chanting. See, all the shlokas are in that same quarter, chandas meter. We are able to chant. So it is articulated in expression by Vedavyasa. Although he has not changed it. It is not that he has changed it. He has made it easy for people to comprehend. And so that is a subtle difference. Okay, so this is the essence. Any specific questions or comments on this so far?
Swami, I was
Yeah.
thinking here that this chapter is called Karma, just a moment, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga.
Yes.
And I was thinking that we have already discussed about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and I was thinking, what is the difference?
Yes, good point.
You know what I mean?
Correct. So here what happens is that he's trying to bring in the concepts which we have covered in the previous chapters, in a way that he's trying to take us to the next level. So originally he has laid the foundation of Karma Yoga. And in the earlier chapter, he talked about Jnana Yoga. Now, in one way, this chapter is an independent chapter by itself of the other chapters. But yet, some fundamental concepts he takes from the other chapter. He's not going to again talk about Karma Yoga here. He's going to explain the further aspect of karma yoga on how you do the true yajna, jnana yajna. So this chapter is, you can say, the essence of this chapter will focus on this, bringing us to the understanding of jnana yajna. How we can offer our actions for that culmination of knowledge. So in that last chapter, actions was explained, but what is the result of those actions? I mean, why should we do karma yoga and how does it take us further? That will be covered here. So in order to do karma yoga, it was mentioned we have to be free from the vasanas. Otherwise, we will only do what we want results from, and all that was mentioned. Here, he'll focus more on how through that jnana, the true essence of sannyasa is achieved. Meaning, essence of sannyasa is this freedom from the sense of doership, freedom from the sense of, the one who is able to offer everything to the Lord or offer everything to that self. So that is why I gave that other word. The other word is Brahmarpanam. How do you surrender all your actions using wisdom? Yeah. Okay, so the main focus in this chapter will be the essence will be on the use of wisdom. The last chapter is karma for the sake of purification. Okay. Okay.
So this is like a little bit more subtler than the previous chapter. She's going more deeper, as in stringing it together. Is that correct?
You can say stringing it together, but it is a different concept now. This chapter will have a slightly different. It is true. The first thing what you said is true. It is a little more subtler. But this is a little different concept that will be covered in this chapter. And this thing, what I'm saying, arpana was not really mentioned in the sense of a complete surrender of self. There the focus was on offering the results of your action, meaning you let go of the results of action was the main focus here in the previous chapter. Here the focus is on letting go of that sense of self, the doership, the complete offering of self. That is possible only through knowledge. Through yoga, meaning through practices, I'll put it this way. Through practices, you can learn to let go of attachment to results. Through practices, any kind of practices. But only through knowledge can you truly let go of self, meaning the ego. So the latter part will be discussed. How only knowledge only knowledge can actually help us let go of the sense of ego. In action, in meaning using karma yoga as a means. Okay, but as we go through, it will become more clearer. Okay, all right. So we will say closing prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Narayana. Stay. Guillermo, if you want, you can stay back.